All right, 5 minutes after 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Robin and I have done this show a long time. And we speak to a lot of authors and a lot of publishers and a lot of publicists, right?
Yes.
And it runs the gamut from the small self-published person to the Simon & Schusters, and then the little boutique publishers. We even have one here in Ocala, I think.
Yeah, we do.
Right? I'm not so sure. And I guess with today's technology, publishing is a little bit different than it was, I guess, when we started the show all those years ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you read the books of Bella and Sabella, you're going to say, well, it is different. Joseph Prisco is the author of this book, and it's really a good one. I found it on Amazon. Let me see if I still have it up here. Let's just try to tell you something about it. Usually I can tell you like what number it is on the thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I can find that right now.
Oh, okay.
Okay. No, I don't. It must be too new. Huh? It's not even on there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, there it is. It's 101. Now that's a pretty good with millions of books, right?
Yeah, that's a great number to be at.
101. You can't beat that. Sabella and Sabella. Joseph Prisco is a poet, the founding chair of the Simpson Family Literary Project. He's an award-winning author. I don't know if he's in New York or San Francisco. I know both cities occur in this book. Joseph, good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, Larry and Robin. Great to talk to you.
Let's see. I hear Brooklyn in your accent. Does that mean you still live there?
No, but I still have family there, and I have to get back there and pay my debts every now and then. I live in California, in Northern California, but do you ever leave Brooklyn? Doesn't seem like it.
No, you never do. I'm from not too far from there on Long Island, and we go back as often as possible, and it becomes part of you, doesn't it? But has that happened with San Francisco?
Oh, sure, but you lived in my grandparents had a farm in East Islip in Long Island. Is that near where you were in Long Island?
Not quite that far. Do you know where Merrick is?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, about Merrick.
Yeah. So I got to California because my dad was a small-time mobster, and he was on the run from the FBI, and he took off one day from Brooklyn, and somehow we got to California, and wrote a few books about it.
Did you see the Gotti movie?
Which one?
The Gotti movie? The Travolta?
Oh, yeah. Is that? Yes, of course. Yeah. Travolta's great at that, yeah.
Yeah, he was very good.
In fact, that neighborhood, the social club was not far from where I grew up in Brooklyn.
Oh my!
Oh wow, that's pretty cool. So this book it focuses on publishers. That's an interesting thing to focus on when you're writing a book that has to be handled by publishers.
I had one editor say to me, "You've written my autobiography." And then she unleashed a few expletives at me. So okay, fine, thank you. So here I am. What they say to writers is, write what you know. But I wrote what I didn't know exactly. I do know a little bit about publishing a bunch of books and dealing with agents and all the business. And by the way, everybody thinks publishing business is a kind of genteel business. It's far from it. It's pretty rough and tumble.
Well, like I said, we work with publishers all the time. The books that come out of New York are not that different than the books that come out of San Francisco. But I'm telling you, if you get a book out of Memphis, Tennessee, it's different.
But how so? How's it different?
I don't know. There's just a different, and I'm not saying that's in a bad way for any of those cities. I just think you can sort of predict if it's a like a murder mystery novel out of Memphis or something. Right. I don't know why I'm picking on Memphis. Because we just had one. That's why we just had one. So I guess you can. Well, you're not going to have a whole lot of mafia references, if that makes sense to you. So maybe that's what it is. I don't know. There's just a different feeling. It's like the cities themselves that they're based out of. Some of our publishers, by the way, have offices in New York, but they actually work in San Francisco, which is interesting to me.
Right. Yeah. So my publisher of Sabella and Sabella is out of L.A., but national reach. I mean, he's all over the country.
Yeah.
So Sabella is a well, first of all, she's very tall. She's everything I'm not. She's very tall.
And she's female.
She's a female. She's getting a lot of trouble about that, writing about a millennial young woman. She loves her hoops, as I do. Well, there you are in Orlando with Aaron Gordon. My God, not far from the Magic, right?
Right, exactly.
Right.
Yeah, Aaron's a local kid, went to Midi school down the road here. Tremendous kid. And I love my hoops. And so this gave me a chance to write about all the stuff I kind of knew and kind of didn't know. And I found that, with writers, you start hearing a voice in your head and you go with it, which is what I did with Sabella. And she has a lot to say. Many things I cannot quote on the radio, I don't think.
Yeah, she's got a mouth, right?
But it's all good in perspective.
That's the plan.
I think while people, there's something, you don't get a whole lot of profanity out of Memphis. There's one thing.
You also stress the importance of education in your book with the character, because her parents were academics. I mean, she's had great schooling, and that's pretty important these days, especially.
Right. So she's a New York kid, went to a very fancy prep school in New York City, where my friend is actually the head of the school, and I hope I don't get sued as a result. So she gets to California. She's in flight from a whole bunch of things, and she ends up in San Francisco, where she gets a job at this little publishing house, modeled on a bunch of publishing houses that I kind of know a little bit. And she begins to find out, well, this is a kind of wacky world she's in. And she begins to take a more central role. But publishing is like a window into everything. Everything goes on in a publishing house. You have legal issues, you have political issues, you have gender issues, you have aesthetic issues. And when you're talking about education, yeah, she was a lousy college student. One of those college students who's too smart to study for any classes, and which and this ties into what I'm doing with the Simpson project you mentioned a second ago. So this is a partnership between the University of California and the foundation out here where I live, Lafayette, California, and we're promoting writers and writing and literature and literacy, and we lead workshops at places like Juvenile Hall in Contra Costa County and deal with traumatized girls. Joyce Carol Oates is our writer in residence, and we give a $50,000 literary prize to a fiction writer. Not to me, though. I'm just the chair. I'm not eligible for the prize.
Yeah, but you have to give guidance, and you have to be passionate about making sure that literacy is first and foremost in everybody's mind and field.
Oh, it's so important these days. I mean, it's never not been important, but I mean, these days, kids, they need. Hey, adults, you need literacy of all sorts. Financial literacy, mathematical, language literacy, medical literacy, and when it comes to, we think that telling stories and reading stories that unlocks the world for people. And I hope so. I read fiction, I write fiction, I write poetry, write memoirs, and everything. And you hope that you find an audience of people who want to go with you for the ride.
Did you have to hold up the character when you're writing as a 26-year-old woman? Do you have to go to your female friends and say, "Does this sound right?" Or do you just instinctively have a way to kind of get into them? Yeah.
So to speak,
to channel them. That's what I should say.
That's a good expression. Yeah, I mean, you hope so. The literature is full of examples of writers who write cross-genderly. So female writers who write in male voices and vice versa. It's a risk, but any kind of narrative and any kind of narrator is a risk. And when you find yourself, you hope that the reader doesn't notice that, there's a male writing this.
But isn't that one of the skills of a good publisher or a good agent anyway? Somebody who's going to screen the material to see if it's transparent. I've often said that the job we do, that Robert and I do, is we can't lie because the audience will see right through it. Right. And that's what a good publisher does. A publisher can see if something. I mean, if it's fiction, it still has to be transparent. You should still be able to see who the characters are.
Absolutely, and you need to look, you either it's a high wire act in any kind of world. I mean, I've written stories from the afterlife. I've written stories about a professional blackjack team, which I actually played for around the world when I was a younger and more impressionable young man.
Did you win?
Oh yeah, we did pretty well. I got barred everywhere in the world, but that meant I was pretty good, but not good enough. But we did okay. But I learned a lot. I learned a lot about money and gambling, and learned about how to avoid casinos from now on. So I take my risks in other contexts. And I've written novels from inside of a Catholic religious order, which I know a little bit about. So I like her. Publishing house is also a hermetically sealed kind of set of conditions that gives you, it's a band of misfits. Which I'm always drawn to.
But you begin each chapter with Cybella, the name within a movie within a movie title.
Movie titles, book titles, poetry titles. She's one of those annoying people who's read everything and never lets you forget it. So she's extremely literate, going back to that, and she's able to make fun of herself and sees through her own pretensions and her own limitations, even while she has lots of opportunity to see how everybody else is pretty limited around her. Which goes to the other thing, publishing a book. You were talking about this technical. It's an amazing thing that a book ever gets written. It's an amazing thing that it gets published. It's an amazing thing that somebody reads it.
Yeah.
When I run into people who've read my books, I just look at, wow, you're really nice. Thank you. Now give it away to somebody else.
Well, there are book readers, and then there are non-book readers. And the non-book readers always speak to Robin, and I will say, you speak to a lot of authors. Do people really still read books? I'm thinking, oh my God, you have no clue. It's just there's so many. But I have a question about writing about publishers, though. Here's a weird thing. If you are writing about the police department or about the lifeguards on the beach or the garbage men or any other profession, it doesn't seem to be the raised eyebrow effect. Like, oh my gosh, you're writing about this? It's fair ground to write about something, even if you've never worked for the police or for the garbage department or anything, right? Mm-hmm. But I noticed, because Rob and I have a background in music also, music publishing specifically, and music publishers don't want you to write about the music business, basically. And the publishers of books, I would think, would I don't know, be the same way, but you could write about anything else that you had never been part of. But this is something you are part of. You are part of the whole world of writing.
Right. And I guess there's a way in which one takes a risk writing about that stuff. And people have said, oh, this is so-and-so, and this is so-and-so. It's not really that kind of book. Although if it were, I wouldn't admit it. That's for sure. But you talk about things you don't know, and I mean, I got to say, one of the things I wrote about in one of my memoirs is I found a trove of trial transcripts of my dad in the '60s in Queens and in Brooklyn when he was on trial. And out of nowhere, this came up, just flipped up on Google one day, and there he was in all these trials about dirty cops, and I never knew any of this while he was alive. And so you find out, these are all dirty cops. This is crazy. This was the pre-Serpico era. But
wow.
Am I saying that publishing is a criminal enterprise? Sometimes I have colleagues who sometimes think that way. Not that mine is. My beloved publisher, I would never say a word against him and them. But there's you take a risk, but I don't know any writing that's worth reading or doing if it's not taking a risk.
That's a good point. Yeah.
How do you become a good mentor for adolescents? Well,
so that was, I taught for a long, long time, and one of these days I'll get back all the papers that I didn't grade yet. It's funny, I ran into a bunch of my former students yesterday at an event, and it's still, you're still right there with the kids. They never really, and I saw my 9th grade English teacher, hadn't seen for forever. And I had a chance to tell him, you're the best teacher I ever had. And I taught a long time. I went to a lot of schools. So I always love dealing with adolescents. I think adolescence is marvelous. It's a very misunderstood stage of development, and everything is at play. Everything is urgent. Kids wear their feelings on their sleeve. They wear them on your sleeve if you're not careful.
Right. Yeah.
And I love that. So going back to an earlier question you had, Larry, about hearing. I think I've been pretty tuned into. I hope I've been pretty tuned into the voices of younger people, and that's where Sabella comes from. She's sort of an extension of my experience teaching college and teaching high school.
And I think that part of our lives when we are reading books, those books stay with us. I was going to say weigh heavy. They don't always weigh heavy, but they stay with us all of our lives. We will always quote books we read when we were 17. We may not quote a book I read when I was 61. So
yeah.
do you know if that makes sense?
Oh yeah. Well, that's wonderful because, and I think this is true about Sabella too. I mean, she sees her life as kind of a novel, as kind of a poem, and I mean, writers tend to do that. I think they do tend to see that there's a drama. And what that means is, of course, for any kind of novel, there's conflict. You can't have a story without conflict, and you can't have a story without language. And so Sabella is, marvelously, I hope, marvelously gifted linguistically, and can turn a phrase and can put people down and raise people up as she needs to.
I want to ask you.
Yeah, I'm sorry, go on.
Well, I just want to ask you, when there's a part in this particular story that makes you laugh, and there are some parts that make you laugh, is it intentional? Are you doing the Jerry Seinfeld thing, or is it just because it rings true? I think it's both. I'll just give you my answer to my question to you, but what is your answer?
Well, I found her in enough situations that she found amusing enough and hilarious enough to go with. So. Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you're saying, do you go for? Let's put it this way: if you're trying to make a joke outside of the story, outside of the plot, outside of the character, it never works. It looks like it's not. But if it's inside the character and inside the tension, then
if it rings
funny.
True,
yeah.
And that's one of the questions that you have in the book between two of the characters. What is real? I just love that. That stopped me in my tracks.
Yeah, well, and when you're living in a very intense, charged atmosphere, like a publishing house, the way she is, she's a junior editor, even though her publisher keeps thinking she's an intern, the megalomaniac that he is. You find this, it's a very charged atmosphere. Everything seems like it's going to fall apart or ascend to the heights. I mean, that's intense.
But you also have a Sabella with her go-to, like if there's something bothering her or she's celebrating something and she needs to do some kind of reflecting, you always bring in the hoops. And I think everybody has their own kind of hoops.
Well, yeah, that's nice. Yeah, you're right. That's true. But she is, and I've always had a weakness for hoops. I've always been a basketball junkie, played basketball all my life till my knees decided that was enough. Mm-hmm. And, here we are in Warrior country. I know we have a lot of Warrior haters out here, but all I can say is I was a fan when they were the laughing stock. That's all I want to say.
That's a fan.
A lot of games where we got beat up badly. So for having a little bit of a run here. Yeah, the hoops are a constant reference for her. And that grounds her. And she's not the greatest basketball player in the world, but she was a pretty good basketball player. So she understands the game. She understands the flow. She understands teamwork. She understands the beauty of a jump shot. She knows all that stuff. And that was a lot of fun to write about, I got to say.
The book again is called Sabella and Sabella. I think we have it. Yeah, we have a copy here.
Yes, we do.
So if I have a listener who would like the book, give me a call. I'll put your name on it. It'll be waiting for you here. I did find it on Amazon. As I mentioned, it's doing pretty good. 101. You can't complain with that. Out of millions of books, right?
I'll take it.
So have you had feedback on this book yet?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, it hasn't been. It comes out officially on the 14th, So it's beginning to dribble out. I know Amazon's beginning to ship, and the independent booksellers and Barnes and Noble and the Million, everybody's beginning to ship. So we'll know a lot more pretty soon.
And you do bring out in your book that diverse communities aren't just in one place. I mean, there's diverse communities all over the America, and people can relate to each other in different communities because they're going through the same things.
Right. And once again, the diversity that you see in publishing, I mean, that's actually a pretty contestable subject these days. I mean, right now, you see, the Me Too movement has put a spotlight on publishing and publishers in a new way. All that's healthy. So there's diversity. I mean, I'll say it again. A lot of misfits go into the publishing world.
And they come out for the better, I think.
This is, I think, a book. A lot of times I'll think a book might make a good movie, and this one I think would make a good series, a good mini series or something. It seems like it's got enough momentum in it to carry it through an episodic kind of a thing.
Well, that's a really good idea. We're working on that.
Let me give this one away. Good morning. You've got the book. Who's this?
Thank you. It sounds like a great book, Gene.
Hey, Gene, you got it. It'll be waiting for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Yeah, you got pretty hot. The phone's lit up right there. So that's how I always know when a book sounds like we're doing our job getting the listener to understand what the book is about. Thank you. So where are you right now? You in San Francisco or LA?
I'm in the East Bay of Northern California, across the water from San Francisco.
Are those fires getting your way? I mean, not the fire, but the smoke from
the air is lousy.
Yeah.
So, the fires are up north, but it's scary stuff out here.
And then one more thing about the character of Cybella is that she's very insightful because she's living in the now, but she seems to draw she seems to draw things from the past that she possibly could not have experienced.
Right. Well, she's actually pretty close to her folks. One, her dad's a shrink, and her mom's an academic, and she grew up in New York. New Yorkers think they know everything.
Yep.
I'm sure I offended half your audience, but I'm sorry about that. We know everything in New York.
That's it. Not only do we know everything, but we also know that we know everything.
Exactly, and we know how to get there quicker. We know the better way to go.
Well, because you have a river on both sides, so it's kind of easy. So, hey, thank you for being on the air with us, Joseph, and good luck with everything.
I really appreciate it. Thank you very much for your interest, and may our paths cross again.
Thank you so much. All right, we'll be right back.
The College of Central Florida is committed to being your first choice for quality higher education. CF has locations in Marion, Citrus, and Levy counties and offers more than 60 academic programs. Earn a certificate, associate, or bachelor's degree. With Florida's 2+2 program, a student can complete an associate in arts at CF and be guaranteed admission to a state of Florida university. CF is ranked number 13 in the U.S. for affordability, is military friendly, and offers a full student life experience. Make CF your first choice. Call 352-873-5800.
Hi, I'm Anthony with Finishing Touch Floors. Are you considering covering your old wood floors? Forget about it. Let Finishing Touch Floors restore your old wood floors. We offer sanding, refinishing, installation, and custom colored stains. With over 35 years experience, you need to call 321-396-2657. Let us put the finishing touch on your wood floors. For your free estimate, call 321-396-2657. That's 321-396-2657.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. Iran bracing for U.S. sanctions, which kick in at midnight.
Senior administration officials say the goal in all this is to try to rob Iran of the financing and ability to export what they call as its malign activity, financing militia groups and certain other activities.
Fox's Rich Edson. The fraud trial of one-time Trump campaign manager Paul Manafort resumes in a few hours this week. A key witness for the prosecution expected to take the stand.
Late on Friday, Paul Manafort's accountant, Cindy Laporta, testified that at one point she needed documentation proving that a $1.5 million loan to Manafort with suspicious origins had been forgiven. So Rick Gates sent her a very obviously fake Microsoft Word document that was unsigned. She went ahead and used it anyway.
Fox's Peter Ducey. And dozens hurt. A bridge partially collapsed near Bologna, Italy, after a report of an accident involving a truck carrying flammable substances. Fox News, we report, you decide.
Are you taking Viagra and tired of paying $50 per tablet? Marley Drug has generic Viagra for just $10 per tablet. $10 for generic Viagra is a savings of $40 per dose. Call now and get free shipping on 10 tablets or more of generic Viagra. Marley Drug is a North Carolina pharmacy licensed in all 50 states. For information, go to marleygenerics.com or call us at 800-452-1760. That's 800-452-1760.
Pros in the know start with Lowe's, because Lowe's has the power tool brands pros trust every day at the right price. Stop by today to check out the full line of DeWalt power tools and accessories made right here in the USA. From drill drivers to circular saws, reciprocating blades to combo kits, DeWalt gives you the selection you need to get the job done. Just stop by the Pro Desk or see them all at lowesforpros.com. So Pro, now that you know, start with Lowe's.
Tired of looking at stained carpets, dirty tile, or grout? Call Silverback Restoration, 414-5312. Make your flooring look great again. Stains, pet odors, allergies. Call Silverback Restoration, 414-5312. From serving our country to serving our community. Silverback Restoration, 414-5312. Residential and commercial. Their work is guaranteed along with your satisfaction. Check their website, silverbackrestoration.com.
In the good old summertime, it takes you back, doesn't it? Makes you think and remember. What did you do in the summertime when you were a kid? At Palm Garden of Ocala, we see folks who are young at heart, but their bodies are giving them a tough time. Our goal for every guest we serve is to bring them to their highest level of independence. Come visit us soon. We're located on the corner of Southwest 27th Avenue and 34th Street. And when you're in the hospital, ask for Palm Garden by name.
Gene Powell Pasture Mowing, 352-629-2440. Our tractor services include bush hog, disking, front end loader, box blade, and stump grinding. We also have zero-turn mowers for the smaller paddocks, aisleways, fence rows, and lawn care. Fence row spraying is also available for weed control. We are licensed and insured. Gene Powell Pasture Mowing, 352-629-2440, or online at powellgene, Gene, at yahoo.com. Gene Powell Pasture Mowing. Gene is a proud United States veteran.
Here are today's headlines from the source, WOCA. A man fired shots during a back-to-school event at a Titusville park on Saturday. The shooting happened at Isaac Campbell Park on South Street. The park was filled with people, including children who were attending a Peace in the City rally. According to police, the man who fired shots had been involved in a fistfight with another person at the park. He left and returned minutes later with a gun and opened fire, but a bystander who was armed with a gun shot the gunman, injuring him critically. The bystander was licensed to carry a firearm. The man was airlifted to a hospital with injuries described as life-threatening. As of yesterday, the man remains in critical condition. No other injuries were reported. Authorities say no charges are expected against the bystander, who waited for officers to arrive at the scene and was fully cooperative with the investigation. The Polk County Sheriff's Office has released the 911 call made by a Davenport woman, Shannon Short, about her 2-year-old son, Hartley Hyatt Jr.
I need to know if he's awake. No. Okay, is he breathing? No. I don't think he's breathing. I can't tell.
Harley was rushed to the hospital where he died. Polk County investigators say the toddler had been beaten and abused. Short and her boyfriend, Christian Thompson, have been arrested and charged with murder, manslaughter, and child abuse.
Metal detectors will not be installed for the start of classes at a Florida high school where 17 students and faculty were slain on Valentine's Day. The South Florida Sun-Sentinel reports Broward County Public Schools Superintendent Robert Runcie sent a letter on Friday to parents of Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School students, informing them that plans for the metal detectors were on hold. A school board workshop on security measures is scheduled for August 14th. Among the issues being considered, how to get 3,200 students through metal detectors every morning. The classes start on August 15th. Reverend Al Sharpton is demanding justice following the fatal shooting of Marquise McLaughlin in Clearwater last month.
We will be involved until we see the prosecution and arrest of the killer of Marquise McLaughlin. This is a real disgrace.
In a news conference in Clearwater yesterday, Sharpton said the Stand Your Ground law is being used as an excuse to undermine Black lives. Sharpton said the data shows this law is overwhelmingly used in white-on-black crimes versus white-on-white or black-on-black crimes. Marquise McLaughlin, a 28-year-old father, was fatally shot during an argument over a handicapped parking spot. McLaughlin's death made national headlines because the man who killed him, Michael Draca, was not charged. Florida's controversial Stand Your Ground law grants immunity to anyone who claims they were defending themselves when they used deadly force. More than 4 million Floridians have Medicare and they need to check their mailbox. Sarah Lee Kessler explains.
New Medicare cards are being issued. Regional Medicare Administrator Ray Hurd says they're designed to prevent identity theft and fraud.
What we're doing is we're removing the Social Security number from the Medicare card and issuing everyone a new randomly generated identification number.
Hurd says when your new Medicare card arrives in the mail, put it in your wallet and destroy the old one. The federal government has been rolling out the new card since May and should be done by the end of the month.
A heroic act was caught on video at a South Florida mall as a baby nearly choked to death. The baby's mother tried to help the baby with a technique taught to her by her pediatrician, which involved sharp blows to the baby's back to dislodge the object. She says she must not have been performing the technique hard enough, so she started screaming for help. The 1-year-old was rescued by 2 Palm Beach Gardens officers of the mall who happened to be eating lunch nearby. The mom told reporters, quote, Officer Ayala stepped in. I handed him to her. He sat down and so quickly started performing what he needed to do to make sure he was okay. And I sat on the floor and panicked. I just wanted to make sure he was okay, unquote. The baby was immediately checked by EMT staff at the mall and is doing well. A 94-year-old Florida veteran has finally received the medals he earned for serving as a pilot during World War II. The Daytona Beach News-Journal reports Richard Charles of Daytona Beach was honored Tuesday in a ceremony hosted by Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University's Naval Reserve Officer Training Corps. Charles's son recently discovered he was never formally awarded with 4 medals for flying C-47 transport aircraft in the Pacific from 1944 through 1946. Charles enlisted in the Army Air Corps at age 19 after his brother died in a military training accident in 1942. He learned to fly at Embry-Riddle. Navy Captain Pat Everly called the pilot, quote, another stellar example of somebody who put service before self, unquote. During an appearance on Fox News Sunday yesterday, Senator Marco Rubio explained the objective of his Deter Act. The Republican has introduced with Democratic colleague Chris Van Hollen. The measure would impose tough sanctions on Russia if it interferes with U.S. elections.
What we're hoping to do is deter future activity. In essence, create a situation where Vladimir Putin has to weigh the costs and the benefits. We're going to show him what the costs are by detailing them ahead. And then when he weighs the costs and the benefits of taking similar action in 2018, hopefully he'll determine the costs are too high compared to the benefits.
U.S. intelligence agencies say Russia interfered in the 2016 presidential election and continues to interfere with the U.S. elections. And SeaWorld Orlando will keep on celebrating beer with a new festival set for November. The festival will feature more than 100 beers of draft from breweries across Florida, plus a few other domestic and international selections. Specialty foods designed to pair with the brews will also be sold. Adventurous guests can also try a variety of beers in several sampling packages. The Craft Beer Festival will be held during the first 2 weekends of November. The festival follows the park's free beer promotion, which goes on through September 2nd. Guests 21 years old and older can enjoy 2 7-ounce beers per visit at Mama's Pretzel Kitchen. And those are the headlines from The Source, WOCA 96.3 FM and 1370 AM.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. Monday, partly sunny, high 88 to 92. Monday night, patchy clouds, low 72 to 80. Tuesday, partly sunny, a spotty thunderstorm in the afternoon, high 88 to 92. Wednesday, sunshine and some clouds, a thunderstorm in spots in the afternoon, high 91 to 94. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Steve Travis.
Here is your 1-minute news brief. A gunman who opened fire at a back-to-school event in Titusville is in critical condition after a bystander who was licensed to carry a firearm shot the gunman before he had a chance to hurt any of the attendees. No other injuries were reported. Metal detectors will not be installed for the start of classes at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland. The reason is unclear. A Polk County woman and her live-in boyfriend have been charged in the death of the woman's 2-year-old son. A heroic act by a mall security officer was caught on video at a Palm Beach Gardens mall as the baby nearly choked to death. A 94-year-old Daytona Beach veteran has finally received the medals he earned for serving as a pilot during World War II. And SeaWorld Orlando will keep on celebrating beer with a new festival set for November. The festival follows the park's free beer promotion going on through September 2nd, where guests enjoy 2 beers per visit at Mama's Pretzel Kitchen. And that is your news brief from The Source. If your children can't get enough of art class, the Appleton Museum of Art has got you covered. After school and weekend art classes and one-day workshops are available for pre-K through teens, covering everything from drawing and painting to clay. Classes begin as early as September. Scheduled class descriptions and online registration now available at appletonmuseum.org or call 352-291-4455 for more information.
Veterans Helping Veterans USA. Call 352-433-2320. We help veterans and their families with limited financial assistance, counseling, employment referrals, and a food and clothing bank. You can help in making a huge difference in the veterans' lives we serve by donating food, clothing, household items, or direct financial assistance. All donations are tax deductible. Veterans Helping Veterans USA, 352-433-2320. Thank you for your attention, and God bless America.
Have you ever looked at a homeless person and wondered what it's like to walk in their shoes? I'm Carla with Interfaith, and we're hosting a 1-mile walk to benefit our homeless shelter and raise awareness for our homeless friends. This is a walk that will change you for good. To learn more, visit our Facebook page, Walk a Mile in My Shoes 2018, or the Interfaith website at iesmarion.org. Take a walk with me on September 1st. The person you will impact the most is you.
Can you believe it? School's about to start.
Our teachers and school staff deserve a thank you and a nice welcome back to school.
Honey Baked Ham has a special boxed lunch offer to help schools provide the very best for the very best.
Their special box lunch offer is everything you need for a meal. A sandwich, chips, pickle, cookie, and bottled water or canned soda, all for one price.
And they deliver. Call them now for details. Honey Baked Ham of Ocala, 352-861-0011.
That's 352-861-0011.
A fairly easy berry to grow and how to utilize them. That's coming up on This Land of Ours.
Citrus, vegetable, and specialty crop growers, production managers, and industry professionals. The 27th Annual Citrus Expo is coming August 15th and 16th, Lee Civic Center, Fort Myers, and you're all invited. Growers who pre-register now at citrusexpo.net will be eligible to win a John Deere gun safe from Everglades Equipment Group. Other sponsors include Carden and Associates Insurance, Agro Research International, Citrus Saver, and Philip Ruck Citrus Nursery. Get the details at citrusexpo.net and in Citrus Industry and VSC News magazines.
Southeast AgNet is social.